and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. And welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. And welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live around the world on Facebook, on Twitch.tv, on Mixer and on YouTube. While we're getting everything set up, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Runs and Rides YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FilmMyRun, on Twitter at FilmMyRun, and you can also go to the website, which is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax and watch me do all the hard work. Good morning, Gabriella. Good morning, Vidar. A very short one today. I am busy today. I've got stuff to do. Cannot spend time. Doing too much running. So we have a very short session. 4 kilometers of climbing. 12% on the treadmill incline. And I'm just doing 4.2 kilometers just to get the 500 meters in. That is it. And then we're out of here. Just need to get this done. So by all means, say hello, ask any questions. But I'm just going to get this done today. Got a busy day. I might be back on again tonight. I realised I'm not going to be doing the Mike McCarthy session this afternoon. because I won't be around. So it might be 7:30 UK Wednesday workout tonight. So I'll almost certainly be on tonight, but I have no idea what time. Andrew Cutmore.
Ride on!
Thanks for the ride. I am getting ride-ons today. That's good. Gabriella says, am I doing the half marathon Watopia on Sunday? I think so, yes. I think Sunday sounds like the day to do it. And Darren says he would have joined me if he'd known. Well, I'm going to be just finishing in 4 kilometres. Very short session today because I've got a very busy day. So I can't spend too much time this morning. I've got to get going. Thanks for the ride on, Darren.
Ride on!
So it's a miracle we are actually seeing ride-ons today. Just going to walk out the first 500 metres because I just need to warm the legs into the climb. We're going up the run path. What am I talking about? The glass roads over New York. And Darren's not going to be able to do the Watopia Run Festival because he is not very well. So all the best to Darren. Ilinski, thank you very much for your ride on.
Ride on!
So hopefully this is going to take about 40 minutes to do. Maybe a little bit more. Oh no, Darren. Yeah, just rest up, buddy. Right, let's get a move on. So, even though we're in a rush, even though I need to get this done quickly, or I need to get it done, I'm not going to go crazy and just kind of try and sprint up the hills. We're just, as always, to avoid injury, we're just going to do things nice and slowly, work into the run. So start easy and just get a bit harder each kilometre. And we'll get the avatar running on the last kilometre. You know, you always, if you try and rush into things before your legs are warmed up or you're ready. See, I've done no warm-up. I've literally got up, had some coffee, and climbed on the treadmill. So you need to warm into these things. Darren, I live on the south coast of the UK, near Brighton. But if people go to London, it's very easy. I'm going to London today. It's very easy. It's about an hour on the train to London. So I often have meetings up there. Okay. So we are climbing 4 kilometres, or we're climbing 4 kilometres. That should get us about 500 metres of elevation. This is all in training for the Trans Gran Canaria Ultra, which is 128 kilometres, 7,500 metres of ascent. 7,500 metres is about 24,000 feet. And that starts late at night on the 6th of March. So not long now, really. I am feeling my fitness improve, but I am putting in the miles. Certainly the last 2 or 3 weeks. Put in a few miles, good bit of elevation, both outside and on the treadmill.
Ride on!
Sussex Geezer, thank you for the ride on. So last week, combined elevation from treadmill work and outdoors was over 3,000 metres, so 10,000 feet of elevation gain last week, and near enough that the week before as well. So I want to do that again this week. and maybe one more week after that, and then I'll do a couple of weeks tapering, and we'll see how we can do on the Trans Gran Canaria Ultra. Lots of big races coming up this year as well. So we've got Trans Gran Canaria, then we've got the Paris Marathon and the London Marathon. Although I'm not actually racing the London Marathon, I will be working, but still. We've also got the Thames Path 100 mile race. We've got Val d'Aran in the Pyrenees 100 mile race. What else have we got? Later in the year, TDS in Chamonix, which is 140 kilometres, which is what I DNF'd last year. Darren, yes. So Darren says, have you felt an increase in leg strength since you started this elevation training block? And the answer is yes. I feel like I can now. So I've got 12% on the incline. I feel like I'm going very slowly right now. I feel like I could probably increase the speed, whereas previously this would have still been quite hard. But I feel very easy doing this pace. So I feel like I definitely have improved. And if I look at my fitness and freshness graph on Strava, that is definitely going up. I did a 20-mile run on Sunday with my wife, and I felt very comfortable indeed the whole way around that. So yeah, I'm hopeful that I am getting fitter, but it all remains to be seen how I manage in March. So 200 meters to go, and actually we're going off to the left. I don't know whether that's my camera angles have made that happen, or whether this is the correct route. So heart rate is still in zone 2, look, 132 BPM, nice and comfortable, had no spikes. Sometimes we get a spike of heart rate at the beginning, but nothing today. I think there have been some improvements on my watch recently, so there was a firmware update quite recently, and I think it has improved the optical heart rate a little bit, so that's good. Okay, so when we get to that bouncing marker, that is 1 kilometre done. We'll increase the speed a little bit. So I'm just doing 4 kilometres today. Each kilometre will give me 120 metres of elevation gain. Over 4 kilometres, that's 480 metres of elevation gain. So I just need to do another little bit after to get up to 500 metres climbing. DN60, thank you for your ride on.
Ride on!
So there you go, you can see 12% there on the elevation on the treadmill, and that's my current speed, 5.5 kilometers per hour. So the my avatar is walking. Tang Big, thank you very much for your ride on, buddy.
Ride on!
I think for me, Darren, normally, Laura Eppelbaum, thank you.
Ride on!
Normally, I would do all my hill training outside, but this has allowed me to get elevation in. You know, I don't know how much different 500 meters climbing on the treadmill is to 500 meters climbing outdoors. But I know that in the area I live, I couldn't do 500 meters of climb in one go because there are no hills big enough. So I'd have to climb up. You know, the biggest you could do is 100 meters climbing, 120 meters maybe of climbing, and then come back down again to the bottom of the hill and then go up again. So 500 meters climbing for me, you know, would be 8 kilometers of running. Whereas I can get 500 meters climbing in half that distance on the treadmill. It's got to be doing some good. Whether it's as good as climbing outside, it probably isn't quite as effective as doing your climbing outside. And of course you don't get the downhills as well, which is equally, if not sometimes more important. What you often find with big mountain races, sky races, is that the first thing to go are your quads, which means you can't go downhill. You can go on the flat and you can climb, but you cannot run downhill. And that is a real killer, especially when races are finishing on downhills. So you're starting the race climbing, the middle of the race you get to the summit, to the top of whatever it is you're climbing, and then the second half of the race is the descent back down to the finish. But if your legs are completely trashed for the downhill, then that ruins your race. Ward, hello. He says, hello, Kate Bush. Am I running up that hill again? Nice one. And Andrew Cutmore, good morning to you, buddy.
Right on.
Still haven't posted your heart rate monitor. I know I'm useless. You will get it eventually, Andrew. I promise you. So it's just doing 4 kilometers today. 4 kilometers, half an hour left, or 25 minutes left. My countdown says 27 minutes left, but we are going to speed up, so it's going to be less than 27 minutes. So what was I saying to Darren about elevation? Yeah. So this climbing on the treadmill has allowed me to get in a lot more elevation than I would normally be able to in a shorter space of time. And that's better than nothing, isn't it? Plus it also means that on my local running club Strava activity list, I'm always top for elevation. No, nobody in my club climbs more meters than I do in a week. That's just because I get to do this every morning. It all counts, it's all training, it's all good. Nice one, Ward. Who's doing the analysis for you? So Ward is just saying he's got an appointment for running analysis and new shoes. Often a tricky one, that. Because if you go to a running shop, the problem is their running analysis will always tell you, oh, you need some new shoes. And I wonder why that is. Just be careful, Ward. Don't let them just sell you a shoe because they want to sell you some shoes. You should be able to get a feeling whether the people doing the analysis actually know what they're talking about. You know, you've got to balance it very carefully between somebody who knows what they're talking about and some shop assistants who are simply there to sell you some shoes. It doesn't matter what the gait analysis will tell you, they will tell you you need some new shoes. A Vagel from Holland, thank you.
Right on.
Okay, Ward. So just be careful. Cagnin from France, thank you very much for your ride on.
Right on.
It's nice to see the ride-ons coming in. You get a bit lonely sometimes when the ride-ons don't come through. So less than 400 meters, and we'll bump up the pace. Okay, well that's good. If it's a well-respected place, then that's decent. That's good. Good news. So heart rate into zone 3 now. Still comfortable. I always find that it gets just hard enough when we get to 6.5, and I start to feel like I am actually working a bit. So I'm not going to be doing Mike McCarthy's Wednesday Workout HQ Special Edition tonight because I'm away, I'm out. Hopefully I'll be back in time for the standard 7:30 UK time Wednesday workout this evening, hopefully. Go on, Darren. Ryder, thank you very much for your ride. And Ryder from Germany.
Right on.
Reader. Majerus. Thank you very much for your ride on. What's that flag?
Right on.
Right, I'm feeling good. Let's go up to 6.5 already. Just a bit early. $20 minutes to go. Victor Klingvis, thank you very much for your ride on.
Right on. Nice.
I think I need some new sound effects. Yes, Darren. There are a lot of runners on Zwift now. It's going to get more and more difficult to find those who are legit and those who are not. 12% elevation on the treadmill, 6.5 kilometers per hour. Full transparency here. Coming up to 2 kilometers done. We're doing 4 in total, climbing 500 meters. Yeah, Darren, we did notice that a while ago. Yeah, we often thought Emily Williams was a man. Guy, thank you very much. That's Luxembourg's flag. So Guy Majerus. Apologies for your pronunciation of your surname. Vidar, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on.
So that's Luxembourg's flag that Guy is running under. Lovely country. Been there a few times. I love the bridge over the valley. Amazing. And the guards outside the palace. Darren, it may well be that Emily is still running, but just under a different name. We think she'd already changed her name once, from Sally Yates. So we used to have a Sally Yates that would run with us about the same pace as Emily. And then Sally Yates disappeared. And Emily appeared, and now Emily's disappeared, so we need to find who the new person is. Right, 16 minutes to go. Ward, some people do that. You don't have to. That's the beauty of a game, isn't it? You don't have to be yourself. You can be anyone you want to be. Kerry Thomas, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on.
And that's the beauty of the internet as well. You can hide to some degree in the internet. Maybe it's an absolutely elite runner who doesn't want to be discovered. So, 2.5 kilometres will get the avatar running. We'll go up to 6.8 kilometres an hour. Lundgren, thank you for your ride on.
Ride on. Hamilton.
I do like New York. Love these raised streets. Love the buildings. I love the trams going underneath. Yes. That's where it counts, Ward. Outside is where it counts. That's the thing. Well, until Zwift running becomes an official sport in the Olympics. Good morning, Christoph. How are you, Christoph? You all right? So coming up to 2.5, let's get the avatar running now. 6.8 kilometres per hour. 1.5 kilometres left of this morning's run. We'll be climbing 500 metres of elevation. We've got the treadmill on 12% elevation gain. And off we go. M. Cole from Sweden, thank you.
Right on.
It's so easy to get set up for Zwift running. All you need are a few things. Firstly, access to a treadmill. Either at home or at the gym, it doesn't matter what kind of treadmill you use, any treadmill will work with Zwift. Next, you need a foot pod, preferably a Bluetooth foot pod, and the most popular ones to use at the moment are the Zwift Pod or the Stride. Then simply download the Zwift app onto any of these devices. So, a Mac, a PC, an iPhone, an iPad, an Android phone, Zwift even works on Apple TV. Pair your foot pod in the app, possibly add a heart rate monitor if you like. Oh, that cut off quite quick, didn't it? Hey Robinson, team TFC, thank you for your ride on.
Right on. Nice.
And Hanson as well, thank you.
Right on.
Ward, it depends what kind of treadmill you've got. Is your treadmill quite a basic home domestic treadmill? If it is, then that might be the reason, because the motor in your treadmill is not very powerful, which means that every time you slam your foot onto the treadmill belt, the belt slows down a little bit because of your impact. So it will work out you're working harder for the same speed on your treadmill that you would do outdoors. So if you're going at 10 kilometers per hour on the treadmill, your heart rate will be higher because you're working harder to push the belt round at that speed than you would be working outside. Does that make sense? If you've got a really good treadmill, then I don't know. It may be that your treadmill is on a slight incline. You need to check that the motor in your treadmill is 3 continuous horsepower. So 3 CHP. 3 or above is good. 2.5, and your treadmill is going to suffer. It's going to suffer when you land on it, so you're going to work harder on the treadmill if it's only got a weak motor. And a lot of domestic treadmills, the motor strength is about 2.5 CHP. Steve Smith, thanks for the ride on.
Right on.
Okay, so we're going to bump it up to 7 kilometers an hour. Final kilometer coming up. We've got about 8.5 minutes of running to go. So up we go. Just slightly faster. I will do about 200 meters more than 4 kilometers. 4 kilometers will give me 480 meters of elevation. So I want 500. So we'll just do a little bit further. Heart rate is firmly established in zone 3 now, 145 beats per minute. So that's where it should be. Occasionally you find if I work really hard towards the end, we'll just touch into zone 4. That probably won't happen today. Nice feeling running past all the cyclists. And I am on a 12% gradient, which is only just a little bit less than what it's saying up there. Look, 13%. Oh, you can't see that, sorry. My camera is covering the gradient and the map. Okay, Ward, so yes, it's likely that then. It's likely that your motor isn't quite strong enough to keep the belt running at the same speed when you land on it. So it slows you down a bit, so you're working a bit harder for the same speed you would be outside. Stephen Smith, good morning to you, buddy. And Hermans, thank you very much.
Right on! Hammer time! Nice!
So if you've not seen this course before, we're in New York. We're running above Central Park. So this version of New York is a modernized, futuristic version of New York. So we have these glass roads above the park, which is pretty awesome. You can see cars flying in the sky as well, excuse me. I've not noticed the camera angles working, actually. Well, they should be working, never mind. Oh, okay, Ward. Ward says, and it's not that he's a featherlight runner. I get you. Okay, let's go up to 7.5 for the last 500 to 700 meters. 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes of running to do. Well, it'll be a bit more than 4 minutes actually with the extra 200 meters on the top. I like this route, Darren. Phil Collins, thank you for your ride on.
Right on!
And Steve Beckett from Zwift HQ. What's he doing awake at this time of day? Must be middle of the night in Los Angeles. Actually, maybe it's bedtime. Maybe they haven't even gone to bed yet. Thanks anyway, Steve.
Right on!
Vidar, do you know what? That's a very interesting question. Well, no, I'm not. Because Tim and John are classed as Zwift ambassadors. It's just I'll do a little bit more because I don't have as many work commitments in other areas as Tim and John do. I think they are trying to get other people on board. And it may be there are Zwift ambassadors in other countries that I don't know about. But I seem to be the only one who is regularly streaming events. Ward, thank you very much, buddy. Oh, the camera angles are working again now. Some nice views. 2 minutes to go. See you later, Ward. So just, I think 400 metres or so to go. And then that'll be it. I have done already, Darren. Your name does come up a lot. Walt Huddle, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on!
Vidar, so it varies. When we have big events, we can get up to 50 people watching on Facebook and maybe 20 or 30 on YouTube. So it's not massive numbers yet. But then of course the YouTube videos stay there and they collect views over time. Christophe Verdu, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on!
But for an event like now, there's only going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people watching. Christoph, no. If I was to run with a foot pod, I would run with the Stride. But my treadmill connects directly to Zwift, so I don't use a foot pod at all. But if I was to use one, it would be the Stride. I do have a Stride, and I use it sometimes when I have maybe a technical issue with the treadmill, but that doesn't happen very often. Darren, there's nothing to be kind of curious about, really. You know, we talk about a lot of runners on Zwift and what they've been doing, and you know, we've mentioned you as a regular streamer. That's all. We can only just put your name out there, really. Right, nearly done. 500 metres to 50 metres to go. Dazzler, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on! Nice!
Okay, let's do 100 more metres. Christoph, when you say you're using your Garmin 235, what are you using it for? Darren, we're well aware. We know the contribution you make to the community, buddy. Don't worry about that. Oh, sod it. Let's go to 4.5 kilometres. Come on. That'll be it then. Definitely finish at 4.5. I'll tell you something about that in a second, Christoph. So definitely going to finish here. 50 metres. There we go. Okay, done. Christoph, so your FR, your Forerunner 235, how do you send your speed to Zwift from the 235? Darren, no, I haven't. I've got 2 to do. I've got John's route, which is 12 kilometers, which I'll maybe do that this week. And then we're supposed to be doing a group run. I don't know if you've heard this. We're doing a group run where we all do the Flat Irons route together. That's the longest route, 14 kilometers. So I think we're arranging a meetup or something to do the Flat Irons route together. But I've just got that one, Flat Irons and John's route to do. Yeah, Christoph, so I don't know how you send your speed into Zwift using the 235, because okay, the 245, yes, right. Well, the 245 is a really great watch to have at the moment, because if you've got the new virtual run software on your watch, and when the 945 becomes available, it'll be on there as well. And for the top end Phoenix watch range, you'll be able to get this virtual run profile, and the virtual run profile will allow you to connect any devices to your watch, so a heart rate strap, a foot pod, or just use the accelerometer and the optical heart rate on your watch. You can record the run on your watch, but you can also rebroadcast the signals from any peripheral devices or anything on your watch into Zwift via Bluetooth, and no other watch can do that. So it's an absolute first, and it's really amazing that Garmin and Zwift have collaborated to do that. And I will do a little review on that. I tried it just using the accelerometer on my wrist, and it wasn't very good. But I think if you have a Garmin footpod, but you run Zwift on an iOS device, an iPad or an iPhone or Apple TV, obviously you can't get your Garmin footpod into an iOS device because it's ANT Plus and iOS doesn't read ANT Plus. So it has to be a Bluetooth signal. So you can either buy a bridging device like the NPE cable or the Viva heart rate strap, or you use your Garmin 245 as a bridging device. You can record your run on your watch if you want to. I mean, I never do, but you can. And then also rebroadcast the signal from any peripheral devices on your body or anything on your watch into Zwift via Bluetooth, which is amazing. What, the Garmin 5S does it? I thought it was only the 6 range that was going to do it. Maybe. Okay, I'll have a look. I thought it was only the Phoenix 6 that was getting the virtual run, but maybe the 5S too. That'd be good because my wife has a 5S, so she'll be pleased about that. But yeah, it's really good for especially people who have a Garmin footpod who can't broadcast onto an iOS device. They can with 245. Christoph, yeah, I mean, I used the watch the other day. I have a 245, and I used it just using the accelerometer on my arm. And I didn't think the pace was very good. It didn't really match what my treadmill was saying very well at all. So I wasn't overly impressed with that. But I think if you match it with a foot pod, it would be a lot better. Anyway, right, that's it from me. I do have to go. Oh, right, sorry. Well, if you're asking no, then Darren, no. I'm fairly sure it is only the Phoenix 6 range, so the latest version. And I've got a Fenix 6, and it's not. I haven't had the download yet, so it's coming, but it hasn't dropped for us yet. So at the moment, realistically, it's only the Garmin 245 that has it, because the Garmin 945, I don't think that's even released yet, is it? Yeah, Garmin is always faster. Garmin always measures faster. That's just a standard thing with Garmin's. Right, I am finished. Guys, I've got to go. I'm going to be late. Got to catch a train in about half an hour, so I need to have a quick shower and go. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Sorry it's been brief, but take care, and hopefully I'll see you tonight. If I'm back in time, I will be on tonight. So take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.